what is that? That looks like a big something. What'd you bring? Okay, that's an elk hoof. Oh, okay. Oh, um, ooh, yeah. Um, I don't know how to tell you this, but that's gross. I don't know. You had diarrhea last night. Oh, son. No, 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 no. Ooh, no, no. Gross. Good news, y'all. So you know how my DC plugs weren't working? I have the two up front that weren't working, and then this one because the all powers drew too much power and blew the fuse. I had Jordan diagnose it when I was back in the valley, and he said, yes, it was this one right here. It was blown. So Maddie looked at it, and he's like, oh, yeah, it is. That is the one. He didn't check that one, I don't think, last week. So he put a new fuse in it, and now all my plugs are working. So he gave me a fuse, but I will go into AutoZone tomorrow and get a pack of fuses so I have backups. Super easy, peasy, inexpensive fix. We are headed into town. It's going to be a gloomy day, so I'm going to take my time to do quite a few errands, get my power stations charged up. So I have my Rock Pals plugged into my AC plug, which runs on a different fuse than my 12 volts. So my Jackery's charging appropriately, and so is my van powers in the front. So I am good to go, and so is Wynston. Okay, I am at AutoZone on Route 66. There are two AutoZones in Flagstaff, but I'm going to run into this one and get me some 20 amp fuses. So I found this. This is Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram made after 2000. I think I'm just going to get the whole pack. It's only 15 bucks. I ended up purchasing the entire set of fuses because it was only $15, and then I also purchased some regular 20 amp fuses. That was $5, so 20 bucks for everything to have tons of backups. I'd say that's a pretty good deal. So I got the fuse changed out, and now we're good to go with backups. Oh wow, I see you brought the elk hoof closer to the van. Wow. You are a very strong boy. That thing's bigger than your head. Smartbone, elk hoof. Smartbone, elk hoof. The choice is clear. Forget chicken and veggie. We want to eat wild animal carcass. I wanted to take a quick pause to remind you guys that Wynston has been on the Woof's Advanced Hip and Joint Support shoes for about a month now. He is almost 12 years old, but acting like a puppy. Get 10% off your entire order by clicking the link in the description below. Thank you to Woof's for being a sponsor. Y'all, the nastiest thing happened this morning. It was so freaking gross. So I got out of my van, and Wynston needed to do his business. It was like very first thing this morning, and I knew we were supposed to have a little bit of sun for a couple hours this morning, and I had to go into town, but I figured I'm going to put my solar out for as long as I can. I had my solar leaning up against a tree, and it was closed, and then I had like a towel over it. Well, I went to remove the towel, and out of the zipper pouch where like you put the solar cord in, spiders just everywhere. They just came out, and they were all over the towel. Ugh. And they were crawling out, and they were like jumping out, and like my solar panel, I'm getting the chills, is so gross. My solar panel pocket became like infested with spiders overnight. Now, it was nasty. It was like one of the nastiest things I had ever seen. And I don't have like a fear of spiders. I just think they're really disgusting. And these kind of looked like daddy long legs, but they aren't that, but they're reminiscent of that. Just huge and gross, and there were so many of them, and they were just going everywhere, and I just stood there like in shock. So I kicked the solar panel over, and they just kept like scattering from it, and it was, oh my god, it was gnarly. It was gnarly. So eventually I had to move the solar panel. So since I kicked it over and it was like on the ground, I was kind of like moving it with my foot, and I think I got them all out. So I pulled the solar panel out into the dirt, and I opened it up, and there weren't any in the actual like solar panel, but there was still a few left in the pocket. Disgusting. Disgusting. Like absolutely so gross. That just happened overnight. And I just left it there for a few hours. I went into town. I left the towel on the ground. When I got back, I kicked around the towel. A couple more spiders came out. And then I just kind of like kicked it until I knew all the spiders were out. And I grabbed it with a bag and I shook it out, made sure it was like empty of spiders. And I stuck it in a trash bag. I secured it, and then I put it in my rooftop box. My solar panel, I left it out. We got some sun today, but Maddie also made sure there were no more spiders left on it. And I literally bleached the inside pocket part, none of the wires or anything like that, but like I bleached the pocket, and I wiped down the panel real good. And that was literally one of the most disgusting things I've ever had to deal with in van life. It was so gross. So I learned, because it's been a little more damp and humid here than usual with the rain, and I learned not to do that anymore. So, but now I'm grossed out and I keep thinking there's a spider crawling on me. I want to update you all on my upcoming content plan. I did a tour of my minivan camper back in February, but I have been getting a lot of questions on that, and I've updated some things since then. So I will be doing a new comprehensive tour of my minivan this next week. So be looking out for that. It's been about 6 months, so I figured, you know what, I typically do one once a year, but it doesn't hurt to do another one. So I have that coming for you this week. I've also been getting a ton of questions about my portable power stations. So I'm going to do just a mini series also next week about each of the portable power stations that I use. They'll be short videos, like 5 minutes or less is what I'm going to shoot for, just briefly talking about each power station, what it does, some features and benefits, and how I charge it, like what I use it for. So each power station will have its own individual video, and I hope that I can kind of answer your questions that way. I also realized that I think I've been a little bit confusing in some of my recent videos where I say, oh, I'm going into town and I'm going to get my power stations charged up. When I say that, what I mean is that I am charging them via my van. I don't like go somewhere and plug them in and sit and wait for them to charge. I have 3 DC outlets in my van, so my power stations, if they need to be charged, are plugged into my van. That way they charge while I'm driving. They don't necessarily get to full, but I figure if I'm driving into town, I might as well use that power to get some charge on each of my stations. So that's what I mean when I say that, and I don't mean to confuse anybody. I do say it in this video, like, oh, I'm going into town, getting my power stations charged up. However, I did say in my hurricane rains video from the other day that I ran out of power on my van powers, and that one is fast charging. It charges in only an hour and a half via an AC outlet. So if I absolutely had to, I could take that power station to like a Starbucks or a McDonald's or a library or something and plug it in to get it charged. But I have never done that, although it's an option. I just charge them while I'm driving into town. So That's what I mean, and I hope that clears up some confusion. I look forward to sharing all this new content with you next week because ultimately I want to get your questions answered and help you out the best I can. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this entire video. Remember, we have a new Facebook group. The link is in the description if you'd like to join. And like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.